If you're concerned about American politics really being down in the dumps these days, it is important to remember that, as crazy it might sound, American politics has always been pretty insane, which means it's time for It's Always Been This Stupid. So one of the things that stands out in this nation's history is how much the CIA tried and failed in assassinating Fidel Castro of Cuba, who has since passed away on his own due to natural causes. But this is incredible because while I was obviously aware the CIA tried to assassinate him, the ways in which they attempted to do so, I wasn't so aware of. And some of their strategies were just insane. So let me give you those details. So one of the plots, well, let me give you the graphic here. On one occasion, aware that Castro was a keen scuba diver, the CIA devised a cunning plan. Documents released under the Clinton administration confirmed that the agency invested in a large volume of Caribbean molluscs with the intention of finding a shell big enough to contain a lethal quantity of explosives. The idea was that the molluscs would be painted in vivid colors to attract the attention of an underwater Castro.
God, that is such a bad plan.
It's such a bad plan.
Okay.
You know, they tried to assassinate him 638 times.
It's unbelievable. There's so many of these amazing stories. So can I tell you my favorite? And
yes.
Then I want to tell you some of the lessons from this, which are really interesting. They tried to poison his milkshake once, and they tried to poison him in 1,000 different ways. But one time they sent in what they call a honeypot.
Yes.
Okay.
I got to give you the details.
Okay,
Jake.
go ahead.
Yes, I got to give you. So they send in a honeypot to kill him. Okay, and it was actually one of his former lovers, and so she was supposed to assassinate him. Castro laid down on the bed and said, "Did you come here to kill me?" Just like that, I was standing at the edge of the bed and I said, "Yes, I wanted to see you." And he said, "That's good, that's good." Oh, but it continues. Marita Lorenz is her name. Castro pulled out his .45 and handed it to me. I flipped the chamber out and hit it back. He didn't even flinch and he said, "You can't kill me, nobody can kill me." And he kind of smiled and chewed on his cigar. And he was so sure of me, he just grabbed me, we made love. I wanted him to beg me to stay, but he got dressed and left. Jesus
Well, look,
Christ.
I'm not saying that's a dude, that's a man, okay, but I'm kind of saying it, okay.
That was hot.
I mean, CIA thought they were cunning. It turns out they ran into a cunning linguist, and
oh my God, we cannot confirm nor deny that Fidel Castro engaged in mouth love. We don't know.
Mouth love with that beard. Anyway, so listen, guys. That's a super badass story. She apparently had the poison in this jar of cream that she brought. We don't know how Castro figured out that she had bad intent, but he was smart enough to figure it out. But handing his gun to her and saying, "Go for it," that is badass. And then she puts it down and they have sex. Come on. Come on, man. I don't like communism. I'm against Castro, okay? But that is one badass story. That story is so good. Right wingers might be like, communism. Okay,
Yeah.
thinking about it. Okay, so now here's some important lessons from this. And some of the ways they tried to kill him was very serious. Some of them were super goofy.
Like a toxic fountain pen they tried to use.
Yeah,
once.
they tried to poison cigar. They tried everything.
Dude, like.
So, but by the way, though, sometimes they would plant bombs where he was going in other countries. That could have killed a lot of people. Okay, and so there was a Cuban plane that was brought down. It's not clear if one of the Cuban exiles who was trying to assassinate him was responsible for that. Some people went to jail, etc. Okay, now first, let's acknowledge we're terrorists. That was the CIA on behalf of the US government that was actively doing terrorism, okay? So that's just a fact. Now they say, "Oh, no, that's just for people that are not us." No, if you say, hey, killing people in an extrajudicial way is terrorism, that's exactly what the CIA planned 638 times, okay? So secondly, now, if you say, no, it's okay, he's a world leader, you can do that. Really? Because then under your logic, if you're a right winger saying that, Putin has every right to murder Zelensky and assassinate him, right? Well, just like here, we didn't like that communists are what we view to be our opponents, were so close to America and Cuba. Putin doesn't like his opponents being so close to him in Ukraine. So he could, and Putin does do assassinations, right? So assassinations are a bad idea. You might like it when, I don't like the guy, but you're not gonna like it when it's your guy who's getting assassinated. And then one more thing, back then there really was a deep state because some of these were not authorized. So they didn't tell the president, they didn't tell Congress, they didn't tell anybody. The CIA would sometimes even work with the mob and oftentimes with Cuban exiles. And they'd be like, okay, let's go to the mafia. Okay, Tony Soprano, can you go kill him or we'll go kill him together? And did they ask the president? No, the president didn't authorize it. That's the deep state. It actually existed. And in one part of the article that I read on this, they said, they seem to care more about killing Castro than even protecting their own president. On the day that JFK was killed, they sent yet another assassin. Okay?
Wow, really?
Yeah, and so, but to me, I was like, nah, I don't think you're getting that quite right.
Yeah.
It's not that they were too busy and that's why they didn't protect Kennedy. There's a very good possibility that they killed Kennedy because he wouldn't do the things that they wanted, including not just assassinating Castro, but starting a war with Cuba.
Yeah, that's right. I gotta admit, when you were talking about Putin and all that stuff, I couldn't pay attention because I was still thinking about that sexy Castro story. That was super hot. Look, I know this will probably be used against me at some point, but I can't help myself. I have to be honest with the audience.
You have to.
Politics aside completely, okay? Whatever you think about Castro, the man, like the person, just talking specifically about aesthetics, okay? Young Castro could get it. I mean, young Castro can get it.
And apparently did.
He did, yes, absolutely. Like
a lot of people wanted to play that Fidel.
It's like making me uncomfortable. That older Castro, not into it, you know?
Well, I mean, it happens. Okay.
The younger Castro, into it.
The older Castro had to, police that beard and the eyebrows a little bit. Okay, a little bit of trimming, but.
By the way, Castro famously once said, quote, "If surviving assassination attempts were an Olympic event, I would win the gold medal." And I would agree with him on that.
No, he'd win the entire Olympics. He'd win every event. The dude survived 638 assassination attempts. And by the way, look, these are different times, right? So the deep state's different, well, pretty much doesn't exist these days. Back then, there was a real deep state and they did not ask questions of our elected officials, okay? And you see them doing that dozens of times with Castro, maybe hundreds of times with Castro, and that's outrageous, right? But at the same time, like we're still up to our old stupid tricks, right? What are we trying to do? Coups in Bolivia and Honduras
Venezuela.
for? Venezuela, right? And we never learn, in the old days when they were competent, they actually did amazing coups, terrible coups, but like the one in Iran, which now has had blowback for decade after decade after. We ruined their democracy. They had a democratically elected leader, but since he actually was protecting his people and charged our oil companies a tiny bit more money, we did a coup against them. And back then, the CIA was really good, bad, but good at their job. And the way that they orchestrated that coup and made it seem like it was homegrown, we now have the documents on it and know how they did it, and it was amazing. Now we got the bumbling, what is it, Keystone Cops, right? So when they go to do coups, they're just so bad at it.
The Juan Guaido stuff.
Oh, totally. And they'll get caught on video shooting from their own side going, oh my God, I cannot believe Venezuela's shooting at us. And I interviewed a CIA agent once, and she told me about how, no, they still run honeypots, and it was an amazing story.
No, honeypot, like that's, I think, the most effective and smart way of doing it.
Oh, I mean, that's gonna work on a guy like 98% of the time, right? But anyways, she explained though, no, the #1 defining trait of the CIA these days is bureaucracy and incompetence. She says, When I was at the CIA, she told me that sometimes she would catch coworkers sleeping under their desk.
Oh my God.
Okay, like they just didn't want to work. They're just like normal government bureaucrats, and they.
Why under your desk? Like why?
So people don't see you.
You gotta pull a Dave Kohler and just sleep in your chair, or like,
yeah, you gotta pull a boss move, like pull a Castro. Be like, no, I'm sleeping right here. What are you gonna do about it? Okay, here I'll hand you the pink slip. No, you're not gonna use it. Okay. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.